will be.
Good evening. This is the Park and Recreation Commission meeting, Thursday, June 27th, 2024. I'll call the meeting to order, and we do have a quorum. And let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First order of business is approval of minutes for last month's meeting.
Motion to approve.
I second.
So motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Unfinished business. We have the Jim and Ann White Family Cabin Ridge Run update. Rick?
Yes, I'll report on the status of the project. We presented to the commission in April. We went out to bid in May. The bid opening was held June 5th. Unfortunately, we only received one bid, and that bid was significantly over budget. For that reason, we recommended that it be rejected, and it was by the Common Council at their June 17th meeting. So moving forward with this project, having met the requirement for a competitive bid process, we plan to quote the work informally with area contractors. I have been in touch with contractors that previously showed interest but declined to bid the project due to the restrictive schedule that we had for their individual schedules. They're just booked up and largely through the rest of this year. So my plan now is to work with those area contractors, receive quotes, and hopefully successfully issue contracts for the renovation work. I will then be reporting back hopefully in July with the outcome of the quoting process.
That puts us behind schedule a little bit then, huh?
I don't think significantly. We had hoped to have the project wrapped up by March 1st of 2025 ahead of the rental season. It looks like we can still complete the work later next spring and have a productive rental season through the summer.
Good. Any questions for Rick? Okay, thanks. New business. Aquaglide Inflatables in Regner, summer of 25. Ryan?
Yes, sir. All right, I threw together a brief PowerPoint just to kind of help visualize what the Recreation Department is hoping to get the blessing of the Parks and Rec Commission for tonight to proceed with in 2025. There we go. Quick background, just as some reminders. Additional revenues are needed to operate Regner Beach due to the higher operational costs. The standard rate for a lifeguard went from $15 to $17.50 plus the bonuses to ensure that we were able to open in 2023. The Regner Inflatable Zone, or RIZ, obstacles were purchased from the Village of Kewaskum for $8,000 and implemented for the summer of 2024 swim season, June 8th through August 18th. Inflatable zone costs $4 per user, must be 6 and older to use, where a City of West Bend issued life jacket regardless of swimming ability. We implemented the waiver, which seems to be kind of the industry standard for all minors, 6 through 17. Something that I don't believe has been presented to the commission yet, we did decide to operate the inflatable zone in 2-hour sessions. Originally, I believe we just thought that it would kind of be a free-for-all and people would come and go. We kind of realized after a couple of social media posts went out that that would be not possible to manage, so we decided to go ahead and offer 2-hour sessions throughout the day. So there's 4 of them, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., 1 to 3 p.m., 3 to 5 p.m., and 5 to 7 p.m. And then the maximum capacity for each session is 30 users, so a potential of 120 users daily. So that's kind of where we're operating in 2024. The current design, again, this was all secondhand equipment in very good condition from Kewaskum. The obstacle run has a little slide on the right side of the screen, a half pyramid, and kind of a dog bone shape the kids enjoy running over. It's kind of a balance beam, I guess. So that's about 60 feet long. Then the hall slide, and then there's some mats and kind of a lounge off of the slide in that picture as well, which did end up getting relocated. But so that's currently what we're operating with. A great starting point, but definitely limited. So this would be an aerial view of the new park design. A couple of months ago, I reached out to Jeff, the president of Aquaglide, who is out west in Washington. So this park would be 142 feet long by 135 feet wide. And again, this is just a conceptual design. I kind of gave Jeff at Aquaglide the schematics of Regner, the depths we have, the area of it, so on and so forth. This is what he pitched back to us. This current design, which would be subject to change, would have a capacity of 145 users at once. So it would definitely be an upgrade from what we currently have. One thing that is worth noting is with this design, we would be looking to get rid of the swimming raft just because some of the obstacles are essentially high dives, and we'll get into that in a second. But so this would be an aerial view of what we would be looking to go to. Again, subject to change. If there was a piece we didn't like, it's all interchangeable to a very high degree. But I won't have the time to sit down and say yes to this, no to that until at least after the mud run, potentially after the swim season. But Jeff's been great to work with at Aquaglide.
If you get rid of the raft, there'll be places for lifeguards on that?
Yes, so the smaller center obstacle without the blue outline, that's a lifeguard stand. So there's an elevated area that they can stand in, and then the platform, actually I have a picture of it. I'll just jump forward quick.
When we get to it, it's fine.
Okay. So new park design. So this is obviously an aerial shot of Regner without any water in it. Mike made this map, so Mike has been heavily involved in this conversation with trying to get this implemented for 2025. The black box that you would see would be the approximate footprint of the design that was provided to us by Aquaglide. I'll just round up and say 140 by 140 footprint that we would be needing. Within that, there's obviously different depths that would be needed to accommodate the obstacles, similar to what we have now. We're just looking at a higher degree just because there's going to be 5 times more than what we currently have. So with this, there would be additional grading that needs to be done. BMCI is kind of already aware that this is something that we're looking into, so it would be on their radar if we're wanting to proceed with this. They know that the work would need to be done sometime this fall after the swim season. With the map, you can see that it would be approximately, I'll say 2/3 of the park, maybe a little less, 60%, would be all inflatables. The 2 green lines would be our 2 general swim areas. So there would still be the family zone on the far east side of the pond, which is your 2.5, 3 feet of water and under. And then there would be a slightly deeper zone to the west of that, up to about 6 feet, just depending on how the grading all plays out. The depth for this, so we would need to go slightly deeper than we are currently at. Right now, Regner's at 14 feet 7 inches, I believe, and we would need to hit 15 feet to accommodate for some of the obstacles, which you'll see in a second. Any questions about that before we move on?
And obviously, kids all the way around by the blue, they can go in the water, in the shallow water, right?
Right. So some of the key elements, I guess, to the attention drawers, I guess they have names from the company, but Thor, so just an elevated platform with some steps, climb up to the top, jump off of it, looks like a fun element. Skyrocket, so that has a swing on it, so kind of like a human catapult, I guess, do some front flips, back flips off of that into your 15 feet of water. No names on these slides, unfortunately, but climbing steps on the left side, slide on the right, jump off the top. I mean, without it being a diving board, it's essentially a high dive. I'm sure that the kids would love that. And then the spraying system, So that is patented by Aquaglide. So with what we're quoted now, they're called monsoon systems. There was 4 in each corner, 1 in each corner for 4 total. So that would essentially lubricate the obstacle to make sure that it's in a safe condition, I guess, for kids to go sliding down it. Per Jeff himself, he said the number one quote unquote injury on these things is skin burn, just because sometimes, there's not water on it, and kids and plastic don't go hand in hand trying to slide down 15-foot slides. So those are some of the bigger obstacles, and you can kind of see from the picture on the right what it would look like all thrown together. Interconnectivity, so kids can run around, swim around from obstacle to obstacle, place to place. Anticipated project costs. So the quote for the park that you are presented with tonight is $145,000. That would include the inflatables with some of the miscellaneous things to go with it, additional pumps, repair kits. That would include life jackets, which would be another big cost if that wasn't included. Shipping is also included in this also. Pond dredging, we would estimate about $50,000 based off of some calculations that we did from the work last fall. Miscellaneous costs, there's going to be some things that pop up. Better to budget that than be naive and say that we won't need any additional money throughout the way. So that would bring the anticipated total project cost to about $210,000. Increased operating costs. So if we did go ahead and implement this, there would be some additional operating costs that the Recreation Enterprise account would incur. Right now we operate with 2 beach house attendants. We would definitely need to go to 3. The 3rd beach house attendant would just constantly be renting out life jackets, fitting them, making sure they're a good fit, notating what's coming in, what's going out with all of the life jackets. With the park, being set up the way it is, I don't believe that we would need to make any changes to our lifeguarding staff. So 8 on the weekdays, 10 Friday, Saturday, Sunday are when we would anticipate it being busier. 4th of July after the mud run, so on and so forth. Project funding. So we would be looking to pull the recreation summer lunch program balance of $32,000 and use that towards this project. The West Bend Friends of Parks and Recreation has committed $25,000 to this project. We are currently waiting on confirmation for 2 $30,000 donations for a total of 60 from 2 community civic groups. We hope to hear back in August from those 2 groups. Each one of those $30,000 commitments would be over the course of 2 years. Other potential sources, if necessary, we could pull a little bit from the enterprise account balance. Obviously that's a little risky, but if necessary, I think that Mike and I are comfortable pulling some money from there to make this happen. We would definitely seek additional donations from individuals, businesses, civic groups, whoever would be wanting to back this project. Potentially look into park impact fees, proceeds from the swim raft sale. In my eyes, that's a $5,000 minimum sale, hopefully. Could be more, could be less, but I think 5,000 is pretty realistic just based on the quality of it and the size of it. And again, if the funding is not where we want it to be and we're sure that this is the way we want to go, which I currently believe is, we would look into taking out a loan if necessary to make this happen. Anticipated finances. So on the left-hand side, you have what was budgeted for 2024. On the right would be projections for 2025. Concessions. So we would estimate that, I guess for all of these numbers, we estimated that out of the 580 potential users daily, so 145 max capacity times 4 sessions is 580. We did 47% of that for all of these numbers. For concessions, we've estimated that, moving to 2025, we estimated that of the 47% of 580, that half of that half, to make it simple, would spend $3.50 at the concession stand for the 69 days that we would anticipate operating in 2025. So you can see the increase there. Swim operations, for these numbers, again, 47% daily of the 580. We did use $8 as the entry fee, I guess, to use the inflatable zone for 2025. Again, as a reminder, it's $4 this year, but for $8, you're getting easily double as much in value. Mud Run, we did slight increases there for expenses and revenue. 4%, I believe, was the number that we used. You can kind of see the subtotals there. Obviously, the revenue in 2025 should jump out to you as being significantly higher. And then recreation programs are the last big piece of the puzzle to factor into this. Again, modest increases both in revenue and expenses. We wouldn't expect anything astronomical to happen in rec programs because of summer aquatics and Regner. And you can kind of see the difference at the bottom in the totals in revenue and expenses projected in 24 and 25 if we were to go ahead and implement the inflatables presented to you tonight. So I guess we are looking to get approval to go on and take this to Common Council for implementation in 2025.
You're good with these numbers, that they're low enough with weather and things like that?
I feel comfortable with them. Mike spent a lot of time on this. The numbers were 99% Mike's numbers. He asked me for the percentages throwing in if I was comfortable with them. We changed one or two a little modestly. But yeah, I'm comfortable with what's presented.
It would definitely pay for the lifeguards.
Yeah.
And that was our problem with once that ARPA money runs out.
Well, and I just this past week took a group of 14-year-old boys to the Fondy Aqua Park, and quite a few of those things that you had up there, they have there, and they charge $40 a person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so just thinking, if you're only charging $8, I just think you're going to have a lot of people coming as well. I think it.
Have you seen a lot of increase in attendance with the inflatable now?
So I have a Regner Aquatics report later. I'll just jump ahead to that now. Gross sales 2023, the first 16 days. I was trying to make it as apples to apples as possible. Obviously, weather and clouds and that, it's impossible to paint a perfect picture each way. But first 16 days that we were open in 2023, gross sales were 18,150. 2024, first 16 operating days, 26,150, which was a 44% increase. So I don't think the numbers lie, and again, what we have out there, it's a great starting point, but it is very limited. Mike, anecdotally, the couple of times he's been down there, I haven't noticed it because I'm more focused on the lifeguards and the rules, but Mike's noticed that the kids are done with their 2-hour inflatable zone, and then there's a line in the concession stand that's 10 people deep because they need their bottle of water or food or something. So one will feed off the other, definitely.
So with the new ones, would you do a time limit also again, a time zone?
We would mimic what we have in 2023, or excuse me, 24 to 25. Down the road, we could definitely look into doing all-day passes and things like that. Carolyn did a great job talking with RecTrack, our software. We want to be able to make this as customer-friendly as possible. So if Mike knows that he's going to bring 10 kids, or Sarah knows 10 kids are coming for a birthday party, they can buy the passes ahead of time. July 4th, you have family in town, you have 30 people that want to use it. As soon as we go live for registration in the summer, mid-May, you can buy all of those passes for the 4th of July. We'll have a QR code bar scanner, something to be determined, but make it as customer-friendly as possible.
And our customers are already asking for that, if they can purchase tickets ahead of time, things like that. So in the future, we would allow a certain percentage. Right now, we're allowed 30 participants at a time on what we have, and that's manufacturer's requirements.
Okay.
With the new equipment, it'd be 145. So out of the 145 people at one point in time, we wouldn't pre-book or pre-sell all those tickets. We don't want to do that to the people that show up that day. Still leave a certain percentage available, but again, like Ryan mentioned, you're having a birthday party, a family reunion, things like that. You can go ahead and schedule yours ahead of time. So even things like our picnic groves and all that, I'm going to go rent the picnic grove because they're cheap. That's home base for me. I got 10 picnic tables. I can have my birthday party cheap and go purchase a bunch of those tickets for 2 hours, things like that. So it's going to impact all the operations within the park. Yeah. So, and also talk, Mike, a little bit about daily attendance. For 2023, we averaged 201 people, swimmers per day. And that's good weather, bad weather, things like that. So that's 201 What we did for this, excuse me, the scenario you have in front of you, the revenues, expenditures in front of you, that number we use is 277. So it's not we didn't go overboard with overestimate. We wanted to be low or close to accurate or low. So, I mean, we're only looking at filling 47% of those time slots. Again, Ryan mentioned this year's been a huge success. We haven't had a warm weekend yet, though. We've had a lot of warm weather on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays, and we're busy. It's great. It's fantastic. We've yet to have that warm weekend, and I look forward to that. I mean, just to see the numbers and the people and, where we're at. So, that's why we're trying to be conservative. We're trying to be practical with our estimates, not, hey, let's make this look really juicy and no, because this needs to function. If we don't do something to offset our costs, in early 2026, we are out of money for our rec division. Done. Just fold it up, go home. So we don't get paid to just sit on our hands and wait for that to happen. We are fortunate that the county is financially supporting us to help get us through this period. Well, we've done the research. We've visited Fond du Lac. We've talked to the people down in Delavan. I've looked at every aqua park in the Midwest online and looked at 2-hour windows that they run, half days, what they charge on the weekends, season passes, campgrounds that offer it, all this and that. So Ryan and I before the 24 swim season started, we really sat down and said, well, what would the 25 season look like, scheduling wise and all that, because we don't want to do 5-hour windows this year and a 2-hour window next year, because our customers are going to be like, what? I'm paying what? And so that's why we wanted to do 2-hour windows this year, which is not uncommon. And you start talking about $40. Now you're talking about 4 swim windows. That's $32. And Fond du Lac allows concessions. We sell concessions. We're an open park. So there's all kinds of different variables. So Ryan worked hard to make 2024 look like 2025, hopefully will and beyond. So our customers, our residents are used to that structure. We don't want to start changing things up and getting all crazy with, numbers and all that. And also working through this, so from 2018 to 2023, you look at our rec programming revenues, okay? So nothing with aquatics, just programs. Our revenues have increased by 39%, okay? Great. So our programs are very good. They're very affordable. Most residents can afford them. That's what we want. But we're able to increase those revenues to help offset some of our costs. Our swim revenue during that same time period, so from 2018 to 2023, our swim revenues have gone up 4% because nothing's changed. In 2012, we built the splash pad, huge success. It was an extra draw of the Regner Park. It is. Well, since then, everyone else around us has built a splash pad. Hartford's built an aquatic center and things like that. And good. I mean, the Hartford setup over there, it's awesome. It's very successful, things like that. Well, we need to increase our revenues and offset our lifeguard costs. As in 2021, I mean, just lifeguards, we spent $66,000 in 2021. In 2023, we spent $135,000 because, we needed more guards. We needed to pay them more. We needed to put some incentives out there. A lot of things have changed since 2021 to 2023, just the world, the economy, post-COVID, all that stuff. So the reality of us spending less money on lifeguards in the future, no, that's just not a reality. That's just a cost of business. In 2022, we had no guards. 2022, we went from $11 an hour for a guard starting to $15 an hour. I think we had 2 or 3 applicants. That's it. That's why we didn't open whatever. The community said they want the pond open. Well, the only way we're going to do that is by incentivizing this program. And Ryan's done a phenomenal job rekindling that program, restarting that program. He has built a great environment down there for those young people. They're doing an excellent job for us. We're very fortunate to have Ryan on our staff and doing what he's doing, but we need to offset these costs somehow. And Regner Swim Pond was dug 87 years ago. not much has changed. A splash pad, this year some inflatables. So it's this or,
I think it's a great idea.
or I don't know.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, open body of water doesn't attract the people anymore. It's
Right.
the inflatables is really gonna bring that.
Alan, you've been around we've done the studies for outdoor aquatic centers, and that would cost the community, $12+ million to construct something that's open 70 days a week or 70 days a year, things like that. So this is where we're at, and this is our reality. And the community decided they want to renovate and save Regner Park, and we've been doing that. It's been a huge success, and hopefully this is our option. I mean, I really feel that. I mean, Ryan and I went around and around and around.
Yeah, I think
A lot of morning
I think it's a very
coffees and
good option.
discussions, and so.
Do you know roughly the life expectancy of something like that?
Manufacturer warranty is 3 years, so we would be covered against all defects for 3 years, so through 27. Per Jeff, Aquaglide president, the smaller ones are more prone to popping just because there's more seams, tighter bends, things like that. But it's been a couple months since I've corresponded with him on that specifically, but I believe he said 6 to 7 years is pretty average. As long as, you're doing the due diligence of cleaning them thoroughly when they're done, getting all of the water and et cetera off before you store them away in the winter here in Wisconsin. So I would say 5 at a minimum before you'd have to start maybe picking and choosing where to replace.
Is there a motion to move along with this
I'll make
project?
that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a second? Is there any other discussion? Otherwise, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Great. Do you know when you're going to be presenting that to the council? Next month? Oh,
As soon
we'll
as
find
we're
out.
able to, yeah, whether it's Mike or myself, we'll get that taken care of, hopefully in the very near future.
We'll let you know, Mike.
Sounds great. Special events, Mike, you're going to do that?
Yeah, we only have one this evening, and it's the West Bend Chamber Cash Bash. We just kind of held on to this one. We did all the other events earlier this year. And the reason why we held on to this, it's still their standard weekend in August. But this year they're adding an 80s night to Friday night. They're going to have some bands and some alcohol, things like that. So the standard Cash Bash, many people around town, all over the community, really, for that event. But then this year's the 80s event. And the fees would be waived for this event also because the city of West Bend is a member of the West Bend Chamber. So, and insurance and all that is the same. All the permits for alcohol sales and all that need to go through the clerk's office, so they would address any of those issues.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve that?
I'll motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on it? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And resolution authorizing transfer of PARC funds for street tree replacement. Carolyn, you're going to do that?
Yeah, this is a transfer of funds from PARC fund. This amount has been held in the PARC fund for a while. It was donated, matching funds, as the description says here, matching funds from both Rotary and West Bend Friends of Parks. Matched by that, and then some fees were taken out, a total of 10 grand, but then $9,870.70 remains. And this was one of those designated for a specific use, designated for planting of trees in parks, which Rick organized through the tree surety contract this year. We planted, Rick's going to have to help me with the number of exact trees that were planted in Riverside Park and in Regner Park. So this is transferring those funds so we can utilize it to pay the invoice for tree surety.
It'll cover the whole invoice?
Just a small piece of it.
Okay, is there a motion?
I motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Fall 2024 program fees, Ryan and Mike.
All right. Recreation programs, archery, we are going to adapt the structure fee that we have been doing for winter and summer programs, so switching that to a fee structure of $5 for resident, $7.50 non-resident per class. Swimming lessons, no change. Tiny tot and junior gymnastics, same thing. The fee structure that we've been going with for the last 9 months or so, $5 for residents, $7.50 for non-residents. Women health and fitness, no change there. Our youth dance, so ballet, tap, hip hop, jazz, lyrical, and then the performance POMs, we are going to increase that to $98 for residents and $147 for non-residents. That is a program that starts in October and runs through April when they have their recital. So that $100 and $150, I'll say, is for 26 classes plus the recital. Monica, our head instructor, is a very great instructor, and we are fortunate to have her. But with that comes a cost of having to pay her what she is worth. So that is the main rationale for the increase there. Again, if we do 26 classes divided by 98 for our resident, we're talking under $4 a class. So I still believe that it's very affordable, trying to make all of our programs that we offer affordable for residents. Youth Flag Football League, no change there. Adult Volleyball League, no change there. Fall Soccer, fee structure $4 and $6 per class, which would take us to 20 and 30 resident, non-resident. And Fall Little Hitters Baseball, $20 and $30. Again, same fee structure. Moving on to Lawrann programs, across the board, Little Hikers, Healthy Families Hiking, and the Luminary Walk, no changes in the fees there. And some of the subcontracted programs that we run, beginner guitar, beginner piano, learn to play music, and music lab, no change to that, all at the West Bend Music Academy. Our ballroom dance class, no change there. Babysitter training, no changes. Learn and play program with the school district, no change there. We are starting a new adult program for yoga with a lady that is doing youth yoga this summer. She'll be charging $50 per resident for a 6-week class, and we'll be getting 20% of those revenues. Judo with the West Bend Judo Club, we are increasing that $10, or they are, so increasing from 69 to 79. Their program, they kind of call the shots with that, but at the end of the day, we receive 10% of the total revenues.
Ryan, on the youth soccer and Little Hitters, are you lowering that price?
Yes. So, and it all goes back to the fall and winter of last year, winter and spring of last year, trying to make it, the rationale behind it, kind of like Mike said earlier. So there was some programs where baseball would have been $20, but then soccer was $23. And then in my mind, with a math finance background, it just didn't add up. So consistency across the board is what I was looking for. With those numbers, yes, are they lower, but hopefully we can fill the extra 2 or 3 spots that we're not able to fill with the prices we have now. So at the end of the day, it all equals out, or we're even more on top. So, yeah.
Okay. That it?
That is it for fees.
Is there a motion to approve the fee schedule?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Donations.
I'll take the first one. The first one is from Fox Feathers Piggly Wiggly Slinger. They run a charity of the month, and very generous to do that. $4,048.99 was collected from proceeds from charity of the month. I believe this was back in April, and we thank Piggly Wiggly for running that program, benefiting Special Olympics.
I have 3 of them, 3 donations. The first is Bank 59 for $5,000, being one of the presenting sponsors of the 2024 Dirty Ninja Mud Run for Kids. Thank you to Bank 59 for that generous donation. The second one that I have is Westbury Bank Charitable Foundation Board for $5,000 for the beach house renovation. This is the 4th of 5th installments. Thank you to Westbury Bank again for that donation. And the last one that I have is from the West Bend Friends of Parks and Recreation, a value of $2,742.50 for recreation program participant t-shirts for both our youth tennis league and youth softball league in the summer. So thank you to the West Bend Friends of Parks and Rec for that donation.
And I have 3 donations from Friends of Lawrann Conservancy. The first donation in the amount of $8,328 for installation of a new solar light in the parking lot. The second item in the amount of $7,400 paid for the installation replacement of the concrete ramp at the Marin Center. And the final item in the amount of $3,500 is for supplies, installation, and carpentry for repair of the barn entry doors. So thank you to Friends of Lawrann Conservancy for your financial support.
Okay, I will do the next one. Big shout out to Horicon Bank. They will again be sponsoring our fireworks display for July 4th. They have been our sponsor for a number of years. They have committed again $7,500 to support that display over at Riverside Park.
I have the last one from A&W Iron and Metal. It's an AED that was donated with a value of $1,300 for use out at Quas Creek Park with the athletic complex. Big shout out and thank you to Lana and A&W Iron and Metal. Great. Since Mike Starl's not here, I will say it, that we're fortunate to have such a generous community that continues to give these donations every year, every month. Is there a motion to approve, accept these donations?
I motion to approve.
And a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you again, community. Proclamation, July is Park and Recreation Month. I will read the proclamation. Whereas parks and recreation activities enhance the physical and mental health of individuals, workforces, and communities, and whereas parks and recreation opportunities and open space enhance the desirability of communities as locations for business, industry, and residential housing, and whereas parks and open space are vital to the appearance and livability of communities, protect our air and water, and balance our ecosystem, and whereas it is the right of everyone, regardless of age, race, color, religion, gender, national origin, or ability to participate in parks and recreation programs and activities and enjoy parks and open spaces, and whereas parks and recreation stimulate tourism revenues and the economic development of communities, now therefore I do hereby proclaim July 2024 as Parks and Recreation Month. And that will be forwarded to the Common Council.
Next week, Monday.
Super. And now we have reports. Chairman, I'd just like to thank the park staff, the entire park staff, for all the work they've done getting the parks and everything in order, and continue to take care of the Regner Park. I mean, it's beautiful. And all the work that was done downtown by everybody for the planters and everything. So thank you. And then Craig isn't here tonight, but he did send along a report. He said the mountain bike trail at Regner is complete except for the trailhead kiosk and a couple directional arrows. The road crossing signs are in and the trail is being heavily utilized. One day last week there were 50 NICA kids riding the trail. NICA and Gears would like to thank the parks staff and the commission for their support. From Craig. Project manager, got anything else, Rick?
I can report on that.
Sorry, I can report on a few projects I've been working on. Carolyn mentioned the tree surety project in which the park funds have been transferred for to pay some of that. The project was completed with a planting of 275 trees last month in May. Of those, 54 trees were planted along the new sections of the Riverwalk. 41 trees were planted in Regner Park. 108 trees were street trees through our free street tree program, and another 49 trees were planted on streets that underwent road construction in the past year. In total, the contract amounted to about $80,500, $292 per tree. Associated with that scope of work, we've been awarded a 2024 urban forestry grant in the amount of $25,000 through the DNR. A component of the grant is public outreach and education, and with that we'll be installing tree tags on trees at our demonstration site on 18th Street, which has been expanded to trees planted on the Riverwalk. A total of 138 trees will receive these tags that have the plant name on them, but also a QR code that takes you to the city's website, where you can now then with a click go to a plant information page, which gives you detailed information on each tree. So we can hopefully get information out to our residents on the type of trees planted throughout the city. And then one final update. In May, I conducted a neighborhood build volunteer information meeting for Villa Park neighborhood, where we'll be constructing a new playground, replacing, I should say, the existing playground structures. That's scheduled for August the 10th, Saturday. And that's all I have for now.
All right, thanks. Any questions for Rick? Ryan, anything?
Couple of things to touch on. Regner Aquatics, like I said, 44% increase in gross sales over the first 16 days. Should have touched on this earlier, but it was buried in my notes. So far in the first 16 days, we have had 981 people use the inflatable zone. So total users, there could have been some repeat users, but 981 transactions for a total of just under $4,000. That equates out to 61 users per day, so that's just over 50% of the 120 with what we have now. So tying it back together with my report earlier, 47% for 2025 is not out of the realm of possibility in my mind. For the projections that we had for Regner in 2024, that would have been presented in probably February, I believe. We anticipated getting just under 2,100 total users for the inflatable zone in the summer of 24. So knock on wood, we should far surpass that, bar any unforeseen circumstance. Staff's been great. Couldn't ask for a better start. Like Mike mentioned earlier, hopefully we just get a couple of weekends where the weather's on our side and we can definitely see the place at full capacity. Swimming lessons, Nikki Walters is back supervising that. I'm very fortunate to have her. She is a Division I swimmer, knows more about swimming and techniques than I do, so there's not a better person in my mind to be running our summer swimming lessons this summer. So things are off to a great start there. Session 1 will be wrapping up after the 4th of July, and then we added a second session for swimming lessons this summer, again at the West Bend High School swimming pool. Recreation programming, jumping ahead to that. Casey did not come back this year. He is going the more career route with a summer job. So as much of a bummer as that was, we did replace him with a young gentleman named Sam Engelbrecht, who is a teacher at Holy Angels. It's been a seamless transition. Sam's very great to work with, has great rapport with the kids, and I know that the staff appreciate him. Staff's been good, a couple of learning moments here and there. A lot of the kids are 14, 15 years old. It's their first job, but just teaching moments, nothing too crazy. Session 1 program's actually ended tonight, or will end tonight in about 15 minutes. Session 2 then will begin July 10th and run through August 2nd. Numbers are looking pretty good for that as far as enrollment. We did run the first annual Regner Beach House Beer Garden on May 31st, and we attempted to on July 1st, but that one got rained out. So a quick little recap of that. The Gears organization volunteered to help run the bar with Mike Weston. So thank you very much to Gears for all of their volunteering efforts. Candy Cigarette was the band that played on Friday evening. To accompany that, we had a couple of bags boards set up and then a game called Coob. There's a local club. They wanted to try and get some people involved, so they set up on the south side of the patio. Looked like they had some people that were interested in it. Onto the financials. So Candy Cigarette costs $5,000. Excuse me, $500. That's Candy Cigarette costs $500. General startup costs, so for the cornhole bags, constructing the boards, cups, etc., $500. We grossed about $42.80 in beer sales that evening, so deduct about $1,000 off the top of that, and we still have to pay the beer distributor. Craig Walker is taking care of that because Gears got the alcohol permit for this, but when it's all said and done, we should net about $3,000 from this event. So for it being the first event and getting rained out on Saturday, where we had another full slate of events planned, making $3,000 to go to the bottom line of the recreation division, in my opinion, is a very big success. So I would like to thank Gears once again for making it possible, because there was probably 7-8 volunteers, along with a couple of city staff members that made it possible. Couple more, bear with me. Skate park update. Friends of West Bend Skate Park was able to determine 2 locations that it would like to move forward with. One of the locations is favored over the other, but there's some logistical hurdles that may or may not make the spot feasible. We are waiting to hear an answer from the individuals that are kind of having those discussions, whether the preferred spot will be something that we're able to pursue. Hopefully by the time the July or August commission meeting comes around, we'll be able to present our preferred location to the Parks and Rec Commission for approval. Mud Run, when I checked this morning, we were just under 2,000 registrations at 1,994, so slightly behind last year, but as always, they'll keep trickling in up until the event, which is again on July 20th, starting at 8 a.m. Volunteer numbers are looking strong. It takes roughly 100 volunteers to operate this, so if you know anyone that's looking to volunteer and give back to a great event, you can send them my way. And looking forward to another great event there. Hopefully we'll be able to surpass the registration record and finally break 2,500. So that is what I've got.
Great.
Ryan, have you sent out emails to the past volunteers?
I did. Did you not receive one? Uh-oh.
You get a special one.
All my kids asked too. Did you get an email yet?
I will make sure those get sent to you tomorrow.
Don't waste your time with the Allen East. That's mandatory.
Thank you for the reminder.
You bet.
Any other questions for Ryan? Thanks, Ryan. Dan, do you have anything?
Yeah, I got a couple things. We successfully hosted a couple of tournaments out at Quas Creek already this year. One of them had to be canceled for lack of turnout. That would have been, I believe, last weekend. Right now, we're busy prepping for the 4th of July, which is going to be obviously one of the 2 big events the city does. Like Mike touched on earlier, we were part of and pretty much did almost all the work of install and planted all the pots downtown, all over 100. I thought it was pretty impressive. We did it in about 2.5 days. So big thanks to staff and everybody. That mayor came down and helped out. It was a stressful situation, but we got through it and made it happen. So this week, yesterday actually, The donation that Rick talked about for Lawrann, we installed the third solar light on the parking lot out at, on the way in, on the drive. Once the forest's over, we're gonna start prepping for the mud run, so that'll be a little hectic.
Busy, busy.
Last thing to just touch on, I think it was over a month and a half ago, the staff went down to Parkside O and we removed 40 to 50 black locust trees that we're gonna use for the nature playground. And we did find some equipment to debark it, so hopefully once mud run's over with, that's gonna be a focus for a little bit, because we gotta get that bark off those trees for the playground. So, and then they'll get me out of the office to go down with a chainsaw and play with some trees. Hopefully. So, no, and then the inflatables, from everything I've seen, I think it's a fantastic idea. We put them in. Myself and a couple other staff members hooked them all up, and I went through all of them. So if it can handle me, it can definitely handle the kids. So, no, I think going forward, I think it'll be a very positive thing for this community.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
that's all I got.
Thank you. Anything else for Dan? Any other questions? Director Mike, you have anything?
A couple quick highlights. July 25th commission meeting. We will have a commission meeting, but to save everyone a little bit of time, we are looking at having a 4 p.m. Zoom meeting. Right now, it's scheduling some deadlines for certain people. I know Ryan's got the skate park out there. We may need to bring that to the commission. One item for sure is we have a sculpture donation, actually 2 sculptures, and they're looking at moving forward in August for that and things like that. So a lot of times we try not to have a July meeting, but just timing wise, I think we're going to need one. And I just thought, let's just do a Zoom meeting, save everyone a little bit of, instead of coming in here and things like that. So we will send an email out just tentatively, hey, we're looking at July 25th, which is our standard commission date, just at 4 p.m. And if any commissioners want to come here to City Hall, we would have iPads set up for them, things like that. So, look for those emails. As it's mentioned, our big date's coming up July 4th, Independence Day celebration. Also, July 17th is our German night in Regner Park, and it's also the Mayor's Appreciation Evening. So Lori sent out emails already for volunteers. Come hang out in Regner Park. It's always, German night's a good night. It's a ton of vendors there. It's always a good time. Regner Fest, the 19th and 20th, and obviously the Mud Run on the 20th. And I will reiterate what Ryan said. We need volunteers. We need more help with that. So it's a couple hours in Regner Park hanging out. We'll probably put the new All-Matic rep right by the finish line or something like that. So she's mud from top to bottom and all that. So that's what I have, Chairman.
And I understand they have Copper Box for German night, so that'll be exciting. They're a great band.
Yeah. Again, the demographics our customers are changing a little bit with that evening. German night, it's a fun night. Lori's got a German band scheduled early, and then it'll be a little bit different after that, for the second band. So if we have good weather, it's always forecast. If we have a good forecasted weather, it should be a good turnout. That's normally kind of a driving force for a Wednesday event like that. So,
Thanks. Any questions for Mike? Anything else for good of the order? Being no further business, I will adjourn then.